I was born to kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flames. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich with life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Coffee Talk with Emily Rolfe.
Oh, is it actually? Or is it just I have coffee?
Well, you said let's do coffee, so
Coffee talk.
I'm kind of past my coffee because I'm on the East Coast, but I'm actually drinking like a salty element type.
Oh, nice.
Light. I have a big workout waiting for me this evening, so I'm trying to prepare.
Okay, smart.
Yeah. It's one of those where it's intervals, 15 front squats, 10 push-ups, and then in the 3-minute window, max calorie assault bike.
Gotcha.
Until I accumulate 100 calories.
Right. I love workouts like that.
Yeah. And then but I always go too ham on the first few echo or assault bikes. And then
you're just breaking even or just doing the buy-in.
Yeah. And it makes it horrible to finish.
It's like is it Kalsu, the 100 thrusters, and you have to do 5 burpees every minute on the minute till you accumulate 100. And I've seen people just like sit minutes out or just do the 5 burpees and like not be able to do any thrusters for like 3 minutes in a row just to like come back down from the red line.
Yeah. I'm going to be 55 next year, and I got to learn how to pace myself.
You can't? Did you say?
I need to learn. I'm not good at pacing at all.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, enough about me. We're here to talk about you. You were going back, or you've qualified for your 6th CrossFit Games.
Yeah, crazy.
In your wildest imagination, could you have ever imagined you'd be here?
No, I was saying that to Kyle the other day. I was like, see, you almost went there.
Lost my balance.
I was saying in my first games, 2019, or just before that, it was like just a dream to make the games one day. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? And then, 6 years in a row later, here we are. It's crazy.
Yeah, and what's completely baffling to me is every year you get better.
Yeah, so far. That's
the only exception is the medical withdrawal, but that's understandable.
Yeah. if it was me, I would have competed. We know that.
Yeah.
But
so as an athlete, you started later in life than most athletes, right? Do you think that helped you because you didn't have the miles on the tread going into this? Yeah,
maybe. I think definitely doing the other sports that I did helped. Like gymnastics was a huge help, obviously. Because I was probably 20 something when I started, right? Not 17, 16, 15 like some of the girls now. So, I mean, there's no way of knowing because I'll never I can
heard
do it.
Someone say in the Dave interviews they started at 9.
Yeah, that's insane. I think CrossFit's a sport that accumulates so many other sports so that if you do other sports early, you're still kind of training for that you can catch on later. So I think it's cool. Whereas like gymnastics, you have to start when you're 5 or younger. Like you don't pick that up when you're 12, if you're going to compete at a high level anyways.
Yeah. So with that, how has training changed for you but from 2018, 19 to today?
I think the intensity has definitely changed. What I'm able to handle now, intensity and volume, is actually higher than when I was younger. Go figure. And I think just like Kyle's been coaching me now for that many years. I think just knowing me inside and out as an athlete and knowing exactly what I'm good at and what I suck at and what I need to work on and tailoring to the T everything in my programming. Whereas before I was doing more general, and I was getting better because when you start CrossFit, really you just do it and you do general things and you get better, right? And then as you get more and more specific, you have to hone in on those specific things.
You and Kyle kind of learned this sport together, like, right? And so he's become a better coach. You've
Mhm.
become a better athlete. How cool has that been, that not only are you doing it for 6 years in a row, you're doing it with your dude?
Yeah, it's so cool. We say that all the time. We're like, how cool is this? We're literally traveling the world and competing and doing it together. Like, I don't know if he wasn't my coach, I don't know if I would enjoy the process so much and enjoy the competition and the traveling, and you know, the fact that we're together doing it's so fun.
When and you both have other jobs too. Like,
Hmm.
this isn't your sole thing, so you get to spend this time together, because other times of the day you're apart.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So how has that gone? Like, the balance of work and training. Are you getting better at that, or is it just old hat now?
I think I'm getting better. The job that I have now is better for CrossFit. um I'm only working 4 days a week and no nights. I don't do nights at all anymore. So that's huge. Um, yeah, it's better. I've learned how to make it work.
Wad Zombie says, from the outside, it looks like Kyle has the same amount of passion for this as Emily. Very cool to see that.
He does.
Yeah.
We have a rule on Sundays. No CrossFit talk, like at the dinner table, because we're trying to like separate. And now like coming into the games, that rule is out the window. But yeah, we're always just like, he's always thinking of new ways. He's always researching. He's always, yeah, he's in it. He won't admit it, but he's in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Would he ever coach anybody else, or is it just because it's you?
I don't know. That's something you'd have to ask him, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure that, like, if he wanted to, there'd be people that would take him up.
Yeah, he did coach. I don't know if you remember Adam Davidson.
Yeah.
He coached him that year, like during the COVID year. So he had both of us, and that worked out really well, actually. I think a guy-girl scenario works really well. I don't know if he coached another girl, if that would work as well. That was competing against me, but definitely the guy-girl works.
Yeah. Yeah. That seems to be what every good coach has. Like, I just watched the Ricky Alex video yesterday. It works for them because it's a high rank guy, high rank girl. They're not competing against each other.
They're so far apart anyways. The only time they're ever together is before the games, really. Like, he's all way in Australia, right? So not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because, like, I go to Christy O'Connell's gym.
Right.
Like, Pat has no desire to coach anybody but her.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you put in so much time and effort and energy. Like, you have to do it because you love it as a coach. Like, really, you're not getting much out of it. I mean, maybe Shane is.
Yeah.
Cashing in, but you're really doing it because you love it. Like,
yeah, because so he's retired with her. Like, they both retired together. They're off doing other things and enjoying life now.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So you went to West Coast. You took fifth. Never really in doubt you were going to make the games, which is good for you. I've been around where you've been on that line going into Sunday.
Yeah.
And this time you were not.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a calm, like, you're right. Never in the weekend was I like, oh, like, I was just confident. It was fine. Everything was fine all weekend. No big highs, no big lows. It was just fine.
What did you learn that weekend that you and Kyle have brought back? Are we having okay, there we go.
I think specifics in workouts. I've written, like, after every competition, I write down, I go through the whole workout and write down what worked and what didn't. So there's always those specific things. But on a whole, I don't say, like I say, I think it was just like confidence, and it was nice just being comfortable.
No surprises.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was a smooth. I mean, there were, of course, things that didn't go as I practiced, and the couple workouts I did quite a bit worse than what I did in training, which was disappointing. So we kind of had to pick that apart and figure out, what happened there. But that's competition.
Is that common?
No, usually I'm the opposite. Usually I'll shave minutes off, or So, yeah, the fact that it was the snatch ladder. I was significantly faster in training. And then the second event with the front squat double under. And yeah, we went back and we figured out, I switched the length of my rope right before I competed. And I did a few rookie things that were just stupid. And, you learn from them. You still make mistakes at this 6 years in.
So yeah, you made those mistakes, but it's cool that you could make those mistakes and still never be in doubt that you're going to the games.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing detrimental, which was nice.
Yeah.
And it was still, like that event is such a high risk event that I hate to say this and I hate to do it, but I played it safe. Just because the risk is so high, and I knew where I was at, and I knew, okay, I'm going to take an extra 10 seconds, pick up the dumbbells and just go and do it all unbroken. Like, I'm not going to have to push it and, risk failure. And, so I guess that was kind of nice, but, you never like to compete safe, but sometimes it's just the smarter thing to do.
Yeah. To play it safe and still take 7th in that event is pretty good.
Did I get 7th?
You did. Yeah. But it shows that what you're capable of. Like, if you pushed it, you might have taken top 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think going in, it was like, I didn't need to do that though, because again, the risk versus reward, like on that event, you saw people blow up. Like, do I try to get 3rd in an event and maybe, do better overall, or do I, and then maybe risk blowing up and get 20th? Like,
yeah, I didn't get to come watch you guys in the West, but I was in the East, and the leaderboard changed dramatically on that last event.
Yeah, crazy. And they love that. They love doing an event like same thing happened the year before, like with the sandbag carry. Like, remember the Kelly Baker thing? Like, it's just like creates the drama.
It does. And I know people have been asking Boz, did he test it so that he knew that was pretty much the breaking point? And he said no, that just by chance it came there.
You mean in the lunges?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah. So the only question I have from the semis is, I know how you are great at running. Were you disappointed the run was shortened?
Yeah. I mean, I knew I was going to do fine anyways. So it didn't matter in the overall, but I wanted people to get wrecked. And I was like, yeah, make the run longer. But I knew, like, I think they were right. We all would have got like capped somewhere on the run, and it would have been so hard and then people would have known they're going to get capped and, ran the race differently maybe. So I think it was probably smart because it was quite a bit longer with the full berm, but of course I wanted to do that part.
What I find fascinating about, because you win running events at the games, then you go out into semifinals and you have like this person that comes out of nowhere that's just a great runner.
In Heat 1.
Right. Does that play with your head at all, or do you just ignore that and say you got to run your own race?
Yeah, I knew her, like, what she got. So I was like, okay, that's the time to beat. Like, that's just competing. You should know that. And yeah, when I got second, I was like, that's annoying. Yeah. But I knew like at the end of the weekend it wouldn't make a difference. So
Yeah, that's what's great about semifinals is you have these specialists that nobody really knows of who are good at that one thing and can really like shake up a leaderboard here and there.
yeah, and a couple other girls like that helped me because there was people I had to beat, and then the randoms got like in between us. So I was like, okay, sweet, thanks. Like just so you don't even know that, are just good at that one thing. You're right.
On Sunday in the East, someone from the first heat took top 5 in every event.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Well, Olivia didn't she win the first 2 on Sunday in our thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still didn't make it.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. In the East, Tia won everything. So like first place was out of the box, but so many things changed from 7 to 15. I think Chloe was 15th going into the last event and ended up 9th.
Chloe
Govind David.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, you have a couple good events at the end, and you think it's done, but it's never over till it's over, right?
Yeah. It's great. So we talked last night about death sessions. Why do you call them death sessions? Does the intensity ramp up right before the games, or have you been doing this for months?
So I've been doing what I was telling you, like these Mondays and Tuesday mornings. Kyle calls them DOT training. DOT, die or thrive. So die, death, it's kind of the same. And they're really tough. Like sometimes I go to bed with a little bit of anxiety. No, I have to get up. And Monday and Tuesday are like my evening work days. So my first session, it has to be right away or else I don't have enough time in the day. So I like get up and I go like right away downstairs in the garage. So it's tough. It's like first thing I roll out of bed. And they're mostly like high power, high output, high intensity, minimal rest, but kind of interval style things. Like he'll make me do like something on the rower, let's say, and then get off the rower and do thrusters, or get off the rower and do something else, and then repeat. And he'll make a pace that I have to hit that's it's doable, but it's extremely uncomfortable. Like I would never row the machine at that pace if I had to get off and do something, but like that's kind of the idea. And yeah, to kind of kill yourself on the machine and then you get off and do something. And it's terrible. They're terrible. They're hard. But yeah, every Monday, Tuesday, we've been doing that all year, and it's helped immensely in so many things. So
does it simulate something that you think you're going to see at the games?
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. We were like, it would be awesome if we did an interval style workout like that, because that's the way I've been training. But even if we don't, just the way, like what I've gained from doing that kind of working out is going to help me in so many other workouts anyways. So really it's a win-win. It just sucks.
Well, speaking of interval training, your question to Dave at the end of your interview, I thought was brilliant. And you asked him what if he could redo something, right?
Oh,
Do
right.
it. And he talked about the interval workout that he thinks he screwed up on. What I found really cool is great people always look at their negatives. Like people who do great things always look at their negatives, because he didn't just list one. Then he listed off a bunch more that he messed up on, because you can tell that he wants to think about that all the time. What was that? You cut out a little bit.
Sorry. I said I asked him and he knew it right. Like he spouted them off. It's like he's his biggest critic.
Right. And they're right there in the forefront, and he's thinking about them all the time and how he's not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah. And it's hard when you have someone like Tia who just like kind of overachieves, right? You're like, okay, the field is going to take 3 intervals for this except her. And it's like, well, do you program for one person or do you program for the other 39? I don't know. Hopefully we've all like caught up a little, but still there's going to be those events that, you know.
Yeah, it's funny. Pat was on Savan this morning, and he was saying that he loved it when Tia almost broke the test, and he loved it. And BKG almost did the same on the men's side. And he was like, as an athlete, we want to break your tests.
Yeah.
Like that's cool to us, and to him, it's a broken thing he needs to fix.
Yeah, that's because it's like that's the ultimate goal. Like if you go into a workout and you're like, okay, no one's gonna finish, it's kind of like, okay, get as far as we can. Like we know no one, but if there's a chance that, you know, you can or you can break it, as you say, it's like, yeah.
I love, and Dave has been saying in these interviews, like the reason he's doing them is because he felt like there was an us versus them with the athletes in CrossFit HQ. Have you felt that in the past?
You know what? I kind of not really, I want to say like I'm not really in the know. Like I kind of just show up, do what's programmed, like whatever. Like I don't know all the behind the scene drama, and like I'm kind of just like,
Ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah, head in the sand.
Yeah. I really I'm glad he did them. I think it did give him some touch of what athletes go through.
I think it was cool. I think he learned a lot about us. Like some of the questions, I was like, do you know anything about any athlete? Like,
right.
But it's cool. He's a cool guy. Like he was fun to talk to.
I've been saying for years, I started this whole CrossFit life as a volunteer, and he was so good to the volunteers. Like he would come around, shake everybody's hand, thank them for coming, doing all this stuff. And nobody ever got to see that like in public.
Right.
And now with these interviews, I think they're starting to see that in public.
Yeah. He's not, you know, the old, like, oh, we all hate, like the workouts are so bad. And, you know, I think it's kind of a facade. Like, you know, everyone loves to hate the open workout because it was so bad. And like, but the guy himself is not.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, he wants to highlight you guys. To him, that's like the ultimate success.
Yeah.
He says over and over, I hate programmers that over program and don't let, like, simple's better because the athletes can then show what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to.
Yeah, I think he's big on. Oh, sorry.
No.
I was just gonna say, I think he's big on more just, you're right, like simple, like general fitness, and the best will come through. It's like you don't need all these bells and whistles and like weird things and like, you know. But we'll see what's at the games.
I get a sense the athletes are excited that we're going back to that.
Yeah, I am. I know, like, I think high skill is cool. Like, I think it has a time and a place, but it shouldn't, I think, you know, we're all doing it because it's fitness, not because so-and-so can do a press to handstand or whatever.
Right. So speaking of the games, a couple things have been announced. Chad, Dave's talked about that enough. Then we have the run swim, which is right up your alley. How are you on the lake swim?
Pretty good. I'm a good swimmer. I'm not an ex-collegiate swimmer, but I'm a good swimmer. So yeah, I'm excited. We don't have a ton of lakes around here, so I'm only getting out once or twice before the games, like actual open water. But of course, I've been swimming all year, and yeah, I'm excited. I love swimming in lakes, so it'll be good.
With it being a man-made lake, I think the only big difference is sight lines, right?
Yeah. So I did a lesson with like an open water triathlon coach, I think 2 years ago now. And yeah, that helped because it is a big thing and you have to practice it. Like you can't just learn it and be like, okay, I have it now. Like it's something you have to practice. And yeah, it's different. And I think maybe that's the advantage of not being an ex-professional swimmer, is because, you know, they're so used to looking at that black line and, you know, having all the sights in the pool. Well, you were a swimmer, right? You know.
Yeah.
But then when you're in a lake and you see the dark and murky waters and, you know, you have to spot, it's completely different.
Yeah. It's all about sight lines to me. If you can swim straight, you're going to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. I think it's going to be a really cool event. I can't wait to see you run against Tia.
I'm excited that the men and the women are together. I like that.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. I think it's just, I think there are a lot of people with good running ability, and the great runners are going to show what they can do. And then can you just hang on for the swim?
Yeah. And I think, you know, if you have one and not the other, you'll still do okay, but it's hard to do really well, I think, because, you know, so you blast the run, but then you drown. Like, you know what I mean? You're like slow in the water. Or, you know, if you're not confident swimming, maybe you can't blast the run because your heart rate can't be up here to go in the water, right? So I think, you know, and if you're a great swimmer, but you're so far behind from the run, like that's hard too. So, you know, I think I'm okay at both.
Yeah. And then we have Farrington Field, which is going to be a field sprint and a 1600 meter with a happy star somewhere in one of those.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it hard to believe a field sprint is just down the field and that's it. But I don't know. Maybe.
So I've said on our like update show that I hope it's a strongman sphere type event.
Right.
Like just pick up an object, run down the field, you know, different kind. Like if you remember 2017, they did that with a yoke, a sled, and the Slater logs from Strongman.
Right. Yeah, something like
cool.
Is that a different?
You're trying to, sure.
I think, yeah, it's got, yeah. That'd be super cool. I'd like to do something like that. And then depending how long that rest is, you know, maybe you have to run a mile on like lactic legs. So everyone's going to practice a mile and be like, oh yeah, this is my mile time. But then who knows what? I don't know.
Yeah. And we don't, maybe the happy star's in the mile.
Yeah, maybe you got to run with the star on bear hug mile.
Yeah, I've heard people say like run 400, then run 400 with the happy star, then like variations throughout the mile.
Could be. Yeah.
I just want it to, because it's open to the public and it's on ESPN, I want it to be something cool.
Yeah.
Not just a track meet.
You know, I hear both ends. People are also saying like, oh, just do like a straight up mile so we can actually compare CrossFit athletes to other people that run a mile. Well, in track, I don't think anyone runs a mile, right? It's 1500. But
yeah,
regardless, I mean, we're pathetically slow in comparison. Like, let's be honest. Like, we're going to watch people in Paris run the 1500 faster than we run the 800 pretty much. So I don't know if we'll see.
Yeah. So do you like knowing the events beforehand, or do you like being surprised when you get there?
I don't want to know anything. I would rather just go and do what. I mean, in these next 2 weeks, you're probably not going to get, if you're not a good runner, you're not getting better in 2 weeks. Like, you know, if you're not a good lifter, you know, you're not putting on 30 pounds in the next 2 weeks. Like, it's just, why no stress about it? And like, people are going to over practice, and like, how many step ups are you going to do in the next 2 weeks for Chad? Like, develop, I don't know, knee tendonitis or something. Like, it's just, I get it why they do it, to create more hype and like it's coming up, but like as an athlete, nah, I don't want to know.
Well, and they leave out enough details that you don't really know what any of these events are.
That's the thing. You'll practice it one way and it'll be completely different. Like I said, that mile could be on messed up legs, or it could be, you're right, with a sandbag and without, like, whatever you train for, it's not how you're going to feel on day 2 of competition anyways. So
And we know Chad has a twist.
yeah,
You know, the only
that's
thing we think we know is the run swim.
true. But then again, that's like a monostructural thing. Like, you're not getting that much better. If you're not a good swimmer, you're not good. Like, you're not going to be good in 2 weeks.
Yeah. It takes years.
Yeah.
Wad Zombie says, I'd rather not know. Can't imagine the mental stress trying to prep if you know.
Yeah. And people will say, like, the people who are in week 3 of semifinals, they'll be like, it's the worst. Like, watching is worse too. We don't have to watch people do it at the games, but like just waiting and knowing, and like how many variations and intervals and like different things of that can you do in your training? Like, I would argue that's not the best 2 weeks leading up to a comp, right?
Right. Right. And you want to go in with your body feeling good, not trash.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that totally. So, what are your expectations this year, or are you waiting to see what else is out there?
I'm not waiting. I have expectations, but I'll keep those between me and Kyle right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to come in healthy, and yeah, I want to execute the way that I can. You know, like if I go into every event and come out and be like, that was the best I could do, and I, you know, whether it's a first or a 20th, like that, I got to be happy with.
What's crazy is we did our top 40 rankings Sunday night, Carolyn, Prevost, Jamie, and myself. I think from 2 to 14, you could put in a hopper and it could come out any which way.
Yeah.
The field has gotten so much better as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't know how people have improved over the year.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, it could be. And especially with the games, there's so much variety in different events that you don't see throughout the year. So that's the fun part.
So Wad Zombie has one final question for you, and it's not games related. What is she doing outside work training, reading, binging any shows? So what do you do?
I did read.
Compress.
Not much. I was telling someone else the other day, like, I feel like there's no energy to do anything in this last like month before the games. You're just like, all the energy's into training and then eating and sleeping. Like, it's so bad. I was gonna sit down and play piano the other day because I play piano, and I just didn't even have the energy like to sit there and play piano. I was like, I need to just veg and watch TV. So yeah, no shows. I watched the Simone Biles documentary, of course, but other than that, it's a very life in these couple months here. I'm looking forward to letting loose in August and doing some stuff.
I've never heard the piano thing in all the times we've known each other.
Yeah, I did Royal Conservatory all the way up till end of grade 12. So
wow. Elise says she would love to hear you play.
ooh, maybe one day after the games, I'll practice a song, put it on the gram.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just crazy. You caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah, we got a piano right in there. And you'd think, like, I guess it takes brain energy, but I didn't think, you're just sitting there. But I didn't even have the energy for that. I make a goal, like games training, I make a goal to do one thing a day that's like productive. Like, whether it's, I told Kyle, like, it's pathetic. The other day it was check the mail. Or like, do one load of laundry, or scrub the toilets, like do one thing, and like as long as I do that one thing, then everything's going smooth. So
I need to use that on my wife. I just need to get one thing accomplished today and it's a success.
yeah, and whether it's like so small that
Yeah.
like pick up that or rearrange just that thing by the door, just like something very small, then yeah, you feel good about yourself. You're like, okay.
Yeah. Her list for me is much longer than one thing a day.
Yeah, I bet. But you gotta
Well, as always, Emily, it's a joy having you on here. I am going to the games. I wasn't sure that was going to happen, but we're going.
Great.
And we'll be hanging out there rooting you on. I can't wait to see you out there on the floor.
Cool. We'll see you in a few.
Yeah. Well, thanks to everybody for joining. We'll see you next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.